Hello there, it's Lisa Turner here from Psychademy, and we're a spiritual and consciousness awakening organization, and we specialize in training professional coaches and practitioners. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot by people is, when it comes to your spiritual awakening, your spiritual development, it's which voice to listen to, or to put it another way, it's how do you know if what you're listening to is really the voice of your intuition or if it's the voice of your emotions? So I thought what I'd do today is I'd explore a little bit about some of the telltale signs of how you know which is which, and some of the ways that our emotions can send us astray, and how it looks like and feels like and sounds like intuition, but how it's really not. So I thought I'd share that with you. But I'd love to know, first of all, can you see me? Can you hear me? What are your questions? How do you know if it's your intuition? Do you get something that's different that tells you? So let's explore this. So first of all, the very first thing I want to say is this: emotions almost always lie. Not always, but almost always. Whereas intuition almost always tells the truth. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to thinking that they're getting an intuition versus an emotion is they have this idea that any negative emotion, any emotion that you feel that is bad, like if it's anger or sadness or fear or hurt or guilt or shame or anything like that, if it's a negative emotion, if it's that gut feeling that makes you go, ooh, and gets, that little bit of anxiety or whatever it is, that if you get a negative emotion, that must mean that this thing that you're about to do must be a bad thing. And that's not necessarily the case. So let's give you an example. So at the moment, right now, I am studying for I'm moving towards doing actually a PhD, but also before that, I need to do a master's in physics. I want to do a master's in quantum physics. In order to do my master's in quantum physics, I've got to convert my lowly, not quite good enough yet, engineering degree and get a whole bunch of qualifications in physics so I can then get on the master's program, so I can get on the PhD program. It's a long journey, right? It's probably going to be 5 to 7 years, probably at least. So you could look at this. Here I am at the beginning of the journey, and I think, wow, that's a lot of work. Oh, that feels like I'm anxious about, can I do it? It feels a bit overwhelming. There's a lot to do. Can I fit it in? And you could say, oh, that's heavy. That must mean don't do that. Don't do that thing because it's heavy. Because, if we're just trusting our intuition, we always do what feels fun and light and joyful. And the thing is, sometimes the end result is joyful. But in order to get there, there's some stuff you got to do. And sometimes the stuff you got to do is sometimes the thing you want to do and even the direction that you need to go to get there is fun and joyful. But if you have limiting beliefs or trauma from your past, that doing that thing, so let's say you had a phobia of exams, right? You had complete exam freak out, and you also wanted to do a master's in quantum physics. And in order to do that, you really did need to pass some exams. So you could mistake the emotion of anxiety about exams to mean, whatever you do, don't do that quantum physics thing. May have been your lifelong desire, but you've got this negative emotion. Therefore, that means don't do it. And that is BS. It's bullshit. Because what it means is there's a negative emotion there. There's trauma from your past that is stopping you move towards this thing that you completely desire to do. And that's where your emotions are lying to you. They are lying because that emotion, that anxiety will say, whatever you do, don't do an exam. Like whatever you do, don't, if you've got relationship trauma, if you've got agoraphobia, if you've got, and like here we are, we're coming out of the pandemic. People, we're going to start hugging each other. Apparently we're allowed to hug now, but not face to face. I don't know, what's that mean? Public spooning or something? Who knows? So So we're now coming out. Now is the time that we're coming out of this pandemic, out of this time that if any trauma that we've had, that we've incurred during this time, it's actually going to start, we're going to become present to it. That's what's probably going to happen right now. So emotions lie when they trick us into thinking, don't move in that direction because it's painful. But it's actually the pain from the past that, as you imagine moving forward, is being triggered. Even in your imagination, there's that trigger that is stopping you move towards that. So for me, doing a master's in physics, I really wanted to do my first degree in physics, and I got convinced that there's no money in being a physicist. No, you get one person in a gazillion years gets employed by NASA or whatever, or CERN, which hadn't even been built then. So do something practical like engineering, because people will always want to employ engineers. And I did a pretty good job of it, and I got a good degree, and I ended up doing a PhD in engineering, and I had a good career. But I've always wanted to do physics. And so this is a lifelong dream for me. So here's where emotions lie. Here's another place they lie. And it's like sometimes, so there's a difference between a trigger and information. So I think of emotions as this idea of, I think of them as if you had a big brother, like I have a big brother. And when I was a kid, he used to play this game, and he'd hide something in a room, and I had to go and find it, and he'd play warmer, cooler. So as I went towards it, he would say warmer, warmer, or colder, colder. And if I was going away from it, he'd say colder. And I think that emotions are like this, but they only work like this when you are clear from triggers. And until you're a pure channel for clear of triggers, you don't necessarily know whether you're moving towards, whether it's emotions or if it's a trigger. So let me explain the difference. So this idea of colder, warmer, that's your emotions telling you you're not going away from what you want and not towards what you do from. You're going, what do you want? You're moving, instead of moving towards what you want, that's if you feel yourself moving towards what you want, that's when you feel a positive emotion. If you're moving away from what you want, that's when you'll feel a negative emotion. But this can get confused with a trigger. So a trigger is when you have an event from the past that has left some kind of neurological, it's like an emotional scarring, and it can be completely cleared. And I'm going to show you a resource where you can do that completely free in just a moment. So if you have an event from the past, a memory from the past, which as you think about it now causes you to feel a negative emotion, what that means is your present and your future are actually being driven by your past. And that means, and that's a trigger. And the reason we call it a trigger, because what happens is anytime you're in an environment or a situation that is similar to that past event, where that negative emotion was installed, that problem was created, anytime you're there, what that means is that anytime that you're in a similar situation, your neural circuitry will light up saying, "Oh, danger, 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 Will Robinson," only because it's similar. It's similar to the past, not because there is any actual danger, not because there is any actual problem. And this is the challenge. And so what we need to do, what we need to do is to release our negative emotions from the past. And in fact, I even think that idea of negative emotions is almost, that's another Facebook Live. We'll do that another video. I'll do that another video. Those of you watching me on YouTube, and I said Facebook, and you're probably thinking, am I in the wrong place? Hello, YouTubes. Don't normally stream to YouTube. So hi, nice to meet you. So what I'm going to share with you is I'm actually going to give you completely free. This is a gift. If I can do this, you should see it in the thingy. Whoa, look at this. So I'm going to go showing this, and I don't know if this works. So you should be able to see a thing that says www.psycademy, that's psycademy.co.uk/CET-gift. That is my gift for you. It's completely free. And this is the complete emotional release process that we developed here our signature process that we developed here in Psychademy. It's been used to treat PTSD in the military. It's been used to coach lots and lots of business leaders, politicians, and all kinds of people. And it's used to reset your neurology to zero, so that where you have resistance, where you have negative emotions, blocks that stop you growing and expanding and stop you feeling anything other than the information from the present. Because think about it like this. So that's what SET will do. So you want to set aside, no pun intended. SET, it stands for Conscious Emotional Transformation, does pretty much what it says on the tin. And my invitation is to set aside a couple of hours. It's, as I say, it's completely free, but the only thing you need to contribute is your time, and only if you want the result of being free from your negative emotions from the past. There's some exercises to do, some videos to watch to explain the process, completely free training, and then you get taken through the process. The only thing I ask, no payment, don't ask for that. If you want to donate, that's fine, but it's entirely up to you. What I would love you to do is if you paid it forward, if you passed it on to someone else. So that's all I ask. What SET does is it removes anywhere where your emotional guidance system, your intuition, is blocked or filtered or damaged by that experience of negative emotions from your past. So it's a bit like the tracking on your car, or you have your tracking on your cars. Have you ever had a car that always pulls to the left or pulls to the right? And it's like, you can absolutely steer straight, you can absolutely keep it on the road, but you have to constantly fight it to keep it going straight. That's what happens when you have negative emotions from the past that are still running the present. They will distort your instruments, if you like. They will distort your intuition, because your intuition will tell you purely, exquisitely, joyfully, and powerfully when you can, when you're moving towards what you want, when this is in line with your soul's purpose. And that doesn't mean it always feels light and fluffy and pink. It sometimes might feel powerful and compelling and strong, but it won't feel painful or traumatic, because that's when you have negative emotions. Now, sometimes people find it really easy to confuse emotions with intuition, because they have this, I don't know where it comes from, this idea that if it feels good, then it must be intuition. Well, sometimes eating cheesecake feels good. And I think we could safely say that, intuitively speaking, if you ate nothing but cheesecake and didn't ever do any exercise, that probably wouldn't be the great thing for your health, the best thing for your health. So this is where emotions can skew your intuition, where it feels positive, but sometimes it's that ego-driven positive, or it's that bright, shiny object, or it's like, oh, come and do this, and it's all going to be fabulous, and it distorts the real messages of your true message of spirit, your source, your purpose. So head on over and please take this. It's a free gift. Take it, don't take it. It's there for you. There's, as I say, it's just there. If it's for you, use it. If it's not, don't. If it's for someone else, pass it on. If it's for you and someone else, do both. Let me know what you think. Where do you know it's your intuition, whether it's your ego, whether it's your emotions? How do you know whether it's your powerful intuition guiding you forward? And I hope you liked my little video. Well, let me know what you think. Hope you're doing really well. I hope you have everything that you need and desire. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Huge love from me to you. My heart to your heart. Bye.